What's up, ladies and gentlemen? This is Aaron of the Blue Tuber here, and today we're going to be talking about a very special individual in my heart and in the heart of many, many other gamers out there, Mr. Garrus Vakarian. Now, I did release a video before this, which was the top 9 Mass Effect squad mates besides Garrus. In the video, I explained that when I originally wanted to do the list, I wanted to do the top 10 Mass Effect squad mates, but it would have already been spoiled because everybody would have put Garrus at number 1. I would have put Garrus at number 1, so there was no point of doing the list because everybody would have known what number 1 was. So I just went ahead and did the top 9 Mass Effect squad mates besides Garrus, and I said in that video that I was going to do a video about Garrus himself. Not only do I believe that Garrus is the best character you could ever play as have a companion with in Mass Effect, the entire series, but I believe he could possibly be one of the best video game companions of all time. Now, I've not played every single video game that's ever been released, so I can't honestly have a great opinion to some people on this because there are a lot of games that I've never played that probably have great companions in the game. But this, like I said, this is all based on my experience, the games I have played. I've played a lot of games that feature plenty of companions. I've played the Knights of the Old Republic games. I've played the Elder Scrolls games, Fallout, with a plethora of companions, and throughout all those games, I would have to say that in my opinion, Garrus is probably the best one. Why is he the best one? Why isn't he the best one? You see, Garrus is one of those characters, if you will, that just grow and stick to you. Now, for those of you who aren't familiar with Garrus or haven't played any of the Mass Effect games, I'll give you a quick little rundown on how important Garrus is in Mass Effect. So there could be potential spoilers in this. So if you haven't played any of Mass Effect games, number 1, why haven't you? And number 2, if you haven't played it and you don't want to hear anything about the story of Mass Effect, if you plan on playing it, you can just skip on along here. But basically, in the first game is where you meet Garrus Vakarian, and he's one of the few characters. I think him and Tali might be the only 2 characters that you can play, can have as your companions through all 3 games of the trilogy. But anyway, you do meet Garrus in the first game, and he is a member of CSEC. He joins you in your quest to find the rogue Spectre Saren. He becomes a part of your squad mate and helps you defeat Sovereign. In number 2, all your squad mates basically go their separate ways. You eventually do find Garrus again. He is the mercenary hunter Archangel on the planet Omega, or the substation Omega, and that's how you get him through there again. And then, of course, he plays throughout with you throughout Mass Effect 2 during the suicide mission. If he survives the suicide mission, which you should feel horrible if you do not let him survive, Mass Effect 3, he is fighting with the Turians, the Turian regime against the Reapers, and you find him on Pavilion. He's basically a high official of the Turian army. So that's kind of a brief summary of how you interact with Garrus in all 3 games and how he plays. But so let's get down to what makes Garrus so awesome. First off, Garrus is just witty. He has a charm about him. He's very fierce, and through his developing, you don't get a whole lot. I mean, Mass Effect 1, you get some information about him when you do his dialogue, and then if you choose so, you can keep talking with him, and then doing his loyalty missions, you can learn a little bit more about him. And Mass Effect 2 is when they really, in my opinion, emphasized on character development, so it sort of became a necessary thing to always, every now and then, go to your squad mates and check for dialogue options and try to advance the story within him. That's where you start to learn a little bit more about Garrus. Loyalty is his bread and butter, basically. If you piss him off, if you screw him, he will repay you with a nice bullet in the head. His preferred weapon of choice in his sniping. he can be a vengeful son of a bitch. Especially, spoiler alert, when you do the mission where you have to hunt down his former partner, Sidonis. Yes. You have to, there is, now I won't spoil too much, but at the end of that side mission, there is a choice. You can influence how his situation with Sidonis will go. Will Sidonis be killed or other things happening? So Garrus, there's a lot to Garrus that really struck a chord with me. He's the guy who launched his own meme. You can tell when characters are really good when they can pretty much have memes just explode through them. And the one thing about Garrus though is he can be annoying, but in the good type of annoying. For example, if you've ever played Mass Effect 3, how many times did you get annoyed when you wanted to go down there to try to extend dialogue conversation with Garrus, and all he kept telling you was, I got some calibrations I gotta get back to. There's some things I gotta work on back here. That got playfully annoying. But, I don't know, Garrus to me is just a badass. I mean, he is probably, I officially made him my second in command throughout my entire 3 playthroughs of the entire trilogy. I unofficially made him Shepard's second in command. I know it's implied that maybe Miranda might be a second in command in number 2 because she's trying to help you get with your Cerberus agenda, but Garrus was just always that guy. In the first Mass Effect game, I primarily used him and Rex. I explained that more as far as why I liked Rex in the countdown list, but Garrus just commanded authority. He was a soldier. I did like the concept of the Turians. I thought they were very awesome as a militarized sort of race. I just think he's pretty badass. He's witty, like I said. And it's funny, though, he was so likable. Even in the first game, that through fan clamor and complaints, they actually implemented him as a romance partner in the second game and from there on. Because a lot of people really dug the guy. I guess in the end it's all just subjective, or it's all just based on however you see it. To me, Garrus, I will always remember Garrus as probably the best video game companion that I've ever played. It's one of those situations where when I was the first few times doing the suicide mission in Mass Effect 2 and not knowing what was going to happen at the end of Mass Effect 3, I knew that if something bad happened to Garrus, I would fucking lose it. Especially in 2, where you're fighting the helicopter boss after you're getting attacked by the Eclipse and the Blue Suns on Omega. When he got shot by that helicopter, I was legitimately pissed because I saw the pool of blood come from him and I thought the dude was dead. And I was like, really? Motherfucker, I just found this guy and now he's gonna die? Thankfully, he didn't die, spoiler alert. Closing, there's really not much to say. There's not a whole lot of things that, I can go into and facts about the character and all that. Basically, just tell you my opinion. I could go on and on. I don't want to waste too much of your time. But if you haven't played Mass Effect or are interested in playing in Mass Effect, don't overlook Garrus. Make sure you spend as much time learning the story of Garrus and trying to get to know him more and appreciating what an awesome guy he is. As always, this is Aaron from the Blue Tuber, and I'll see you next time.